Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida IFAS Extension Service here in Hernando County, Florida. And joining me, as she does most weeks, not always, but most of the time, is my regular co-host, Lily Browning, who is the Hernando County Florida Friendly Landscape Coordinator. She doesn't coordinate landscapes, she coordinates the program.
There you
You
go.
pointed
Thank
that
you.
out to me recently.
Yes, yes. I would also like to point out to you that when you say I am with you most of the time,
Mhm.
that I was here last week and you were not. So
Oh, I didn't try to say I'm always here either, though.
Bernie and I had a good time.
Yeah, it looked like you guys had a good time.
Mm-hmm. And I did notice, um, yeah, partway in, well, you had probably texted earlier, but while Bernie was talking, I happened to look and you're like, is everything okay? Is everything going all right? I'm like, we're just fine. Leave us alone. We're doing well.
No, I actually had the chance to go on, like from the viewer's point of view, to make sure it works. I could see you on Facebook, our Facebook group. I checked on YouTube. It all looked good. I could see comments and questions and everything.
Mhm. Great. It's nice to see it from the view of the viewers.
Uh-huh.
Monique, you miss Bernie. I don't know what to tell you.
But Bernie has been doing Facebook videos every Thursday recently. He should be doing one today. I didn't even
Yes.
ask.
Did you get my message that his was cut off last week?
I mentioned that to Teresa. Teresa is the video director for the
Mhm.
Bernie show.
Yeah.
So I did bring up that concern with her.
Okay. Because I just got interested in what he had to say, and then boom, it was gone. So
He doesn't like to do it completely live. So she'll make a video and then upload the video and
right,
do it
right,
that
but
way.
it did cut off before he got to
Huh.
say his interesting part. And I waited till waited several hours to see if Facebook was going to adjust itself, and
Yeah,
it was still like that.
because I know Facebook can take a little time to cycle. YouTube, after you upload a video, if you have your settings set for closed captioning, it could take up to 24 hours for YouTube to do the closed captioning and attach it.
And speaking of YouTube,
Yes.
I was just talking to Dr. Lester because last week I did a class. It's on my Facebook page, Fragrantly Florida Friendly. If you have any
Mhm.
interest in learning about the um, bringing in plants that smell wonderful, Buddy was there. There were quite a number of people. It was a lunch and learn last Friday. Anyway, it's not quite on YouTube yet, but I have heard a rumor that it'll be there by 11 o'clock today. What I was told was we have a wonderful YouTube dude, John, but he got a little waylaid and confused because somebody sent him a video at the same time.
Mhm.
Somebody who may be, right in this very streaming broadcast that we have here. And he got confused and did his and forgot about mine till this morning. So,
Those things happen.
uh-huh. And I have told
We'll get to those
John
FFL videos when we get to them.
he needs to remember the rule. The rule is Lily before Bill. The rule is always Lily before Bill, but he temporarily forgot it, but we're working on that.
Got to catch him at the right time. I guess I always email him at the right time and he gets mine knocked out very, very quickly.
Yes, well, because, he doesn't hear from you as much as he hears from me.
But Hernando County government does have a YouTube channel. And if you just go to YouTube, the little search box up at the very top, type in Hernando County government, go to their YouTube channel, look at the different playlists. You'll find one for extension, which has my class video recordings on there. And you'll find one for Florida Friendly Landscape. How many are you up to now?
If he does today's, I think it'll be 107 or 108.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. That's what I told him. It's okay if you did yours first because you are way behind me.
I mentioned that to our new master gardeners. We had a little Zoom meeting Tuesday evening and told them that if they want CEUs, they can watch your videos. I told them that they can like binge watch it for the entire weekend, back to back to back to back to back.
Easy to get 8 hours there. There's hundreds of hours there.
Yeah, that's each one is about an hour long. I know a
Mhm.
few of them that we did were little short ones,
Right.
but almost all of them are about an hour plus or minus.
Yep. So yeah, it's great for Master Gardener CEUs. It's great for people who, need to watch these kind of things on their own schedule. It's great for out of towners. It's great for people who have trouble sleeping. So, all of those things. Good morning, Corey. How are you today? How are things in Shady Hills? I'm just guessing where you are from everything you've said. Oh, I've outed him.
Yeah, I'm very close to Shady Hills also.
Yes. He's on the other side, though.
The Pasco County side.
Yes, yes.
So if anybody has any lawn and landscape or gardening kind of questions you'd like to ask, please feel free to do so. Go ahead and just put that in the comments and we should see them and then we will show them and then we'll do our best to figure it out with you.
It's getting warm.
Yep.
New growth is already happening. Everyone I know, including me, and that demonstration garden, and including your own volunteer master gardeners, have already pruned, despite all our preaching about at least March 15th. So just know you're taking a risk, but I don't think it's going to be a huge one at this point.
Technically, I saw something about the long range outlook for Florida was warmer and drier than average.
And what Bernie pointed out last week, like I have and you have in front of your office, finally pruned the firebush. If it's a plant that's coming up from the ground, go ahead and prune it. If it's something that grows on new growth, you're probably still okay at this point to do so. But, that's the ones we encourage you to wait a little bit to do. But I have, all the crepe myrtles are blooming out. And it doesn't matter if you forgot and you want to prune them a little bit. I was later pruning mine and pruned off some new growth. It doesn't matter with crepe myrtles. It'll come back with more new growth. Yeah.
So Lily, where does the new growth for the native butterfly, I assume native butterfly bush, come up at the base?
I'm not sure what plant she's referring to, but most likely. Yeah.
A lot of plants may get new growth from the base, and then they may get new growth from the stems. The problem is you're looking at the stem and you're thinking, is this dead? Is it alive? Did it freeze over Christmas? I don't know what's going on. If you take your thumbnail and scrape the stem, not a huge scrape, don't take your pocket knife and strip it or anything, just a little scratch with your thumbnail. If it's green underneath, it's still alive and can get sprouts off of that branch. If it's bone dry, brown,
crumbles in your hand,
and crumbles in your hand, it's dead.
Well, could be just that stem is dead and then the base of the plant is still alive too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so. Sure. Fire bushes will freeze all the way to the ground.
And they do not, fire bushes will not start new growth on those old branches. You're referring to milkweed, possibly, Monique. My native tuberosa is evergreen. It doesn't have flowers on it, but I have a few of them and they are nicely green. So, it doesn't sound like yours are doing that well, but, unless it's a different type other than the tuberosa, which stays evergreen. Now, some of the others like the perennis or the incarnata, maybe they don't start putting out new growth yet, both of those swamp milkweeds. So I'd wait a little bit Let's see. If it's the tuberosa that has all those little hairy, not hairy, but fountainy kind of growth up it, it should be pretty dark green, even if it's small at this point, before it puts out those orange flowers.
And Corey asked, what are you planting this week? And I could tell you, Sunday, I have to spend however long it takes out in my vegetable garden to get all the warm season spring stuff in. I've gotten over half the tomato transplants already in the ground. The rest need to go in like a week or two ago. I need to plant beans, pole beans. The broccoli, I'm still getting little side shoots of broccoli off of it. Broccoli is going to have to go because that's where the beans are going to go, is in that row. So it is definitely time to be putting in your warm season spring things and taking a really hard look at what's left of the winter vegetables. And if they're taking up room, it may be time for them to be harvested and go to make room for what needs to go in. So right now is transition time. I should have mine all done and all planted out by sundown on Sunday, which will be later.
It will be later.
It'll
yes.
be right until a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that time change.
Yes. Oh no, Monique bought it from our nursery. Well, your nursery. It, like I said, it depends on what kind it is. And what I would do is let it be there for now. And if you come to our Earth Day celebration on April 22nd, grab a hold of Sean. Not literally. It's pink. So it's one of the swamp ones. So wait and see what it's going to do. It might be just a, late bloomer. It's pink. It's the Incarnata. April 22nd, Earth Day celebration at the Master Gardener Nursery from 9 to 12. You'll know who Sean is because he will have a camera around his neck. He is going to be, from 9:15 to 10 or something like that. We'll be doing the macro photography workshop. But he is, quite literally, he calls himself the Milkweed Man. Yes. So find him, or he's at the nursery, quite often. You could go before then if you wanted to on Wednesdays or Saturdays. Ask about Sean. If there's something to know about native and even non-native milkweeds, Sean's the one who's going to know it. Don't you agree, Bill?
Yes. The other master gardeners at the nursery are all pretty knowledgeable about milkweed in general, too. But Sean's definitely a very good one to talk to.
Yes. He knows all those little tiny, any secret a milkweed has. He knows it.
And depending on what kind of milkweed you have, maybe it's growing at this point. Maybe you need to be patient. Corey says his native tuberosa is still dormant without any green growth. So with some things you are going to have to be patient for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's it. And mine's coming up. So
dead or alive.
Yeah, microclimates, things like that, because mine is coming up. That, and that's the only thing popping up out of that wildflower garden right now, except for the Gaillardia. It's already blooming. So, and the tick seed is green, getting ready to sprout up some flowers. And what puts itself there just outside my wildflower garden has always put itself there. I never put it there ever, is the spiderwort. They
pop up all over my lawn in the spring.
Mm-hmm. There's just this one spot, right? Yeah. Like it's in a flower bed right by my house. And every year I've been there, it comes up, the dayflower. I'm like, so I say, hello, haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah, and if you're waiting for your crocuses to come up here in Central Florida, you live in Florida now. It's not going to happen.
What about my tulips?
You can order tulip bulbs, plant them in the fall or winter, and they'll come up and probably flower in the spring.
And that's
One.
it. That's it. That's all
After
you
that,
get.
if you keep them in the ground, they're going to rot and die during the summer. In theory, you could pull them out of the ground. You're going to have to store them in a paper bag or a box with sawdust or whatever in a cool, dry place. Good luck finding one of those.
Well, your refrigerator.
Would
Yeah, put them in your cellar. That's where you should.
to store them at?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So
put them in the cellar. There you go.
yeah, put them in your cellar in Spring Hill.
And we were talking about bulbed flowers. Cindy's amaryllis are blooming in Pinellas County.
It's that time of year for them.
So mine should be a week or two behind. They're leafy. I haven't put out any stalks yet. So that means also what's going to come after that buffet I put out of amaryllis.
Those horrible big grasshoppers.
Southern lubber grasshopper.
Did you see the Facebook reel that I put up? This past weekend, I went out to water my vegetable garden, and on top of one of the sprinkler heads, because I have just a simple irrigation line with PVC and the stand-up pipes with the sprinkler head on top, there's a whole bunch of newly hatched lubber grasshoppers sitting on top of the sprinkler head. So shot a little quick video, turned the sprinklers on, and when the water went on, it kind of blew them all off.
To your neighbor's yard?
But I didn't do anything with them. I'm going to track, and I'll keep putting updates on Facebook Reels about what those grasshoppers are doing.
Oh, cool. We get to track their whole childhood. Is there going to be documentaries about each one? Are they going to get a name and what they do with their lives?
No, but I'm probably going to. I'm seriously doubt that I'll ever find any damage from them on my plants. I may end up with other insect pests, but not. I always have lubbers in the vegetable garden. You know what? They don't eat anything, and there might be a vegetable that they eat, but they don't eat mine.
They love bulbed plants, so you and I ran.
I don't have amaryllis in my vegetable garden.
In a gated community, who was certain that these grasshoppers ate their entire landscape. I see them all over mine. They love to be on the screen porch and everything. They just hang out.
Yep.
What they're going to eat is your bulbs, your crinum lilies, your amaryllis. So if your entire landscape consists of bulbed plants or things that they particularly like, it will appear as though they ate your entire landscape because you fed them what they liked. There we go. See, great minds, Teresa. So even on crinum lilies, what I've noticed is that I just see like a chewed piece taken out of the leaves. Diversity, have different plants that not all are, affected by the same insect or disease or issues like that, so that when one type of plant you have runs into trouble, it doesn't look like your entire landscape has been disseminated. I think they learned that. What was that in? What was it called? The Dust Bowl? Yeah.
Yeah.
Had somewhat to do with soil conservation, but also to do with monocultures. So.
Yes. So for most people, you don't need to go into a all-out panic over the lubber grasshoppers, and a lot of people do. They just make too big of a deal of it. Now, Lee says that they ate most of her amaryllis 2 years ago because that is their favorite food, it seems like. But there are a lot of plants that I've seen lubber grasshoppers sitting on that they do not feed on, and they did not damage.
Well, right now, they are going to look like they're going to hang out at the nursery together. They love hanging out in groups when they're young. They're very gregarious when they're young. So they bow to peer pressure and they hang out together, having a great time. And they're little and they are black with a red stripe, maybe black with a bit of a yellow stripe.
Mm-hmm.
What you can do when you see them is you can use a bucket, but I have found one of these. Whoops, works great. Fill it up with soapy water. Look, here's your group of lubbers. Lift the lid up, put them in, put that lid over it, shake it up a bit, put it aside. Later, throw those over to the neighbor's yard. Whatever you do, to get rid of them, you've just taken care of them in a very, eco-friendly way. As they get older, they become loners. They wear leather jackets and ride motorcycles, and it says lone wolf on them. But they also have that suit of armor. What kind of chemical is going to get through that suit of armor, Dr. Lester?
Really nothing. I mean, most insecticides are designed to somehow penetrate their skin or cuticle to get to the inside, unless it's a stomach poison, in which case it's on a leaf and they eat the leaf, and that's how the pesticide gets into them to affect them. Adult lubbers are just too thick. They do have a little armored shell or a coat of armor, basically. And when they're adults, so like June, July, August, September, and they're full grown, there's nothing that you can spray on them that's going to work very well. And if you don't make the mistake of spraying your entire yard because you see 2 or 3 grasshoppers, that's not a good plan.
Mm-mm. Nope. And especially since they don't, it was a rhetorical question, Monique. Since they don't really cause that much issues, at least for you and I. But it could, if you found that to work, that's great. Just be real careful. You're putting it only on that particular pest. We don't by any means encourage broadcast spraying pesticides all over your whole yard because you think you might have a pest. It's just, it is, if you were trying to attract wildlife, that's not the way to do it because you're poisoning their food, for one thing. And, putting all those chemicals out in the atmosphere. It's just not what Florida Friendly encourages at all.
Yeah, and orthene contains acephate, which is a very strong insecticide, and it's also systemic in plants. So my guess is you really don't want to be using any systemics in any kind of edible plants.
No.
And orthene and products like it are very broad spectrum. So it's going to kill little lubbers, and it kills everything else out there too. Good, bad, in between.
So your allies die in friendly fire at your hand. So.
And yeah, some of those things, orthene, Sevin, other products, and you have to wonder when you look at the label, it's like, I wonder if this is going to kill what I'm trying to kill. And there's just this gargantuan list of everything it kills.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's broad spectrum. And
right.
Severe warnings about don't let this get into aquatic systems because it'll kill everything there. Reptiles, amphibians, fish, everything else. So when people bring me specific situations and I figure out what their problem is, in 9 years, I've never recommended orthene. There's one specific problem that I think I've recommended Sevin or malathion for, but only maybe 2 or 3 times. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else can be controlled with something less toxic. It'll still be effective, and it'll be safer for you to use and apply. Because if you look at a pesticide and it's got this huge list of all the insects it kills, and it's a nerve toxin, insects are members of the animal kingdom. We are members of the animal kingdom. Insects have nerves. We have nerves, and they're very, very similar. So those are the kind of pesticides that if you're exposed to them, you breathe it in, you accidentally ingest it somehow, you get it all over your skin and it gets into your body. Those are the ones that can make humans very, very sick. So those are like the last things I'd recommend, and only for specific situations. I mean, if that's the best choice for what your problem is, that's fine. I just never encounter that. And when it comes to a lumber grasshopper, you can grab, when they do get really big, you can just pick them up and throw them over the fence in your
There
neighbor's
you
yard,
go. That's called
and your problem is
mechanical.
solved.
That's the Lester mechanical control method.
Yeah.
Mechanical control for the big guys can include stepping on them, but that's gross because they're big and squishy.
Mhm.
Running them over with your car. You've had master gardeners who seem to have a penchant for cutting them in half with their
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it to bother with them unless you have a whole lot of bulbs. So the best method is get them when they're young. Only the young die good.
Well, our dogs will find them. Then my wife starts yelling, "Get rid of that grasshopper!" And I just go over and pick it up and toss it over the fence. There, fixed.
You have an amazing fence.
Any other questions? Please feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat.
Did you see what I sent you the other day? Another Facebook group chat about the watering restrictions. This time, up in my hood, up in the Royal Highlands, and guess what? We are on wells. We're not on public water. And guess what? People are finding out we are on the same watering restrictions as everybody else.
How do they find out?
They have to pay $100 to find out.
That's finding out the hard way.
We try. I mean, as you and I talked about, you can't put the information on a bill to somebody who doesn't have a bill.
Yeah.
But the information's out there. It's been this way for like 12 years. So it's other than posting a billboard in everybody's personal yard. I'm not sure. I talk about it as much as I can. You're probably sick of hearing about it. It's on our website. We go to all different sorts of events. We have the flyers at the libraries, with this information. So it's not hidden. But usually, as the way things go, we can talk till we're blue in the face. They're not going to listen. They're going to tune us out like Charlie Brown's teacher until their neighbors start telling them, "Hey, I owe $100 now because apparently I was watering on my wrong day."
Yeah. Can't make everybody happy. And I mean, even if the county bought or rented out every billboard in town, people could still say, "Well, I didn't see the billboard."
Right.
So short of having somebody go and knock on everybody's door, speak to them face to face, mark them off the checklist, there's really no way to guarantee that everybody's been told or heard. So
besides, the lawyers take the billboards.
Yeah, they do.
Any other questions? We need some questions for today. We're here to answer. Have you had anything interesting come in?
This week, no.
We have.
Let me look at my emails. Let's see if Bill's got any. We're gonna have to start a little segment.
Bill's
crazy emails from Bill's inbox. That sounds good. I'll have to mark out the name. We don't want to.
Oh, of course not. Yes.
Make fun of anybody here, but
we are having a compost bin and grain barrel workshop tomorrow at a park here in Brooksville. Should be a very pleasant day. Talk about tree stumps. Teresa wants you to talk about tree stumps. Boy, that sounds like the most interesting topic I have ever heard. Why does Teresa want you to talk about tree stumps?
I have no idea. Here, let me see if I can share. my crazy email. Bum, 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 bum.
Teresa would like you to
Oh, no,
talk
I need to find my
about
email.
trees. This is what I figured what she wanted you to talk about is you think you've cut down a tree and there's the tree stump and then boom, the babies are coming up from the roots.
Some trees do that pretty aggressively.
So what do you do if you don't want that tree anymore? Well, I get it, ground. I guess that's why when you have someone to take down a tree, you have them grind the tree stump.
You could do that, and a lot of trees don't come back, but some trees do come back. And certain trees, when you cut them down, you need to kind of plan on them coming back. So you're going to have to spray them with herbicide. You could use glyphosate, you could use triclopyr. If you look online, the University of Florida has information, a whole fact sheet on cut stump treatment. And if you think about it, that's what you're doing. You're treating the cut stump off of the tree that you just cut down.
Mm-hmm.
So
with things like Brazilian pepper trees, this is extremely important. You just go around and you cut down all the Brazilian pepper trees and go along your merry way, like that Greek myth with the guy who cut off the dinosaur or the dragon's heads, and it kept producing more and more and more heads. That's what's going to happen with your Brazilian pepper tree if you don't stump treat.
That's a tough one to get out. So.
Like immediately from cutting that, while the pores, for lack of a better word, of the stump are open and will accept that herbicide in.
Yeah, you have to spray that stump basically within a few minutes is best. You can't wait a week or two and come back and spray it because it'll already be calloused over and the herbicide won't go into the stump now. But here, I finally got into my email here. Let me show you something that, let's see, who sent this to me? This is from Louise, who sent this to me after we did a quick class last Monday, or was it this Monday, on vegetable gardening in containers. And Louise sent me some very nice pictures of her backyard garden.
Very nice.
And you can see she has raised beds with things growing in them. Mm-hmm. She has the hydroponic stacker pots.
Nice.
And she has the above top irrigation into it. I see good looking what looks like broccoli. I see squash that's newly planted. Tiny bit early, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. I can see in the background the tube, and that may have strawberries growing in it.
Cool. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's another one, some of her the hydroponic towers. She's using water barrels. That's probably for the irrigation, and that's probably water with fertilizer that's pumped out and is pumped to the containers.
Pretty cool. So you got a major system there, huh?
Yeah, very, very nice. And, you do something like that, and you're going to get some food out of it. You're going to get some fresh vegetables, depending on the size of your family. If you're the Waltons, you're going to have to grow an awful lot to feed everybody. If it's just yourself or a couple, or even if you have just a couple kids, you don't have to grow, 1,000 pounds of food to get a good harvest for you and your family and eat better.
Did you see Jenny's?
I was just about to click on that one.
Is she talking about dog fennel?
That's what I think it is. But let's start at the beginning of Jenny's question here. She has a very feathery weed that has taken over my fenced-in backyard. I hear that it's called dog parsley. It's called dog fennel or dog parsley. With weeds and common names, there may be 1,000 different common names for any given weed. They can get really big by the end of summer. They sprout in the spring. They grow all summer. By the end of the summer, they could be 6 feet tall in an empty field. Oh, yeah. And then they freeze and die back over the winter, and then even more come up the next spring. She says the smell is very strong, and I've been pulling the small plants coming up. They're starting to bloom already. This is kind of early. And Jenny, I'm not sure where you live. You may not even be in Hernando County. She's on a mission to pull them before the seeds are formed. That's good. You need to pull them before they make seeds. Otherwise, over time, your problem only gets worse instead of becoming better. My question is, how in the heck did so many seeds get in my fenced yard? I've been here 25 years and I've never had these come up before.
See, that's the most surprising part of this whole question to me, that she's been here 25 years and has not had encounters with dog fennel. I mean, it's everywhere. It's
yeah,
part of the
weeds
landscape.
blow in the wind.
Yes. Fields, farmers' fields, when they don't, they're full of it, of the dog fennel. It's just a very common weed. I have it all. It's a native, isn't it? I'm almost
I believe
certain.
so. I don't think it's
Yeah.
an invasive weed.
No.
It's not one that we
And I
try to
have it all
control.
over my yard because it's just a natural part of, where I live, the ecosystem there. I mean, I'll take them down. I'll cut them down when I want something else to be there, but I've never fussed about them too much. I walk past them in the more uncivilized areas of my yard. I'm just used to them being there. And I bet you
Yeah.
Teresa could look up or would know if they are any kind of food source, for any kind of pollinators or anything.
Well, they're going to be a food source for some kind of insects. I've seen insects
Sure.
on them before.
Yes. It
It
just
was
seems
something-
it's just odd to me. I've been here about 45 years. So from day one, of course, we had relatives with a 20-acre farm, which is getting ready to have apartments built on it. Beside the point. Anyway, the dog fennel was just always there. That's just ubiquitous.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Jenny's seen the dog fennel in the surrounding woods, so she has it in the neighborhood. She's never had them this many sprouting in my yard. Just odd. If you have disturbed or turned over that soil in any way,
or there's
what
been
that does is it
construction
brings-
near you.
yeah, weed seeds. Everybody's yard, everybody's garden, every patch of dirt you have outside has a weed seed bank. A lot of weeds will make seeds, and even if the seeds get buried too deep, like a couple inches deep, they'll go dormant and they'll sit there and wait. If you dig a garden, if you pull weeds and disturb the soil, you'll bring seeds that are kind of deep up to the surface. They get a little flash of light, they get a rain, and boom, they're going to germinate. That's why if you have a flower bed or a garden bed, if you go out there and you pull all the weeds up, the soil's disturbed, you kind of smooth it over. In a couple weeks, what happens? More weeds come up.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull them again. You're disturbing the soil again, and then more weeds come up. What commercial farmers will do is they'll till an area to kill the weeds, and then more come up. Till it again, more come up. Till it again, fewer come up. Till it again, even fewer come up. You can keep doing that to use up your weed seed, your account balance, have them all germinate, and lower the number of weed seeds you have out there. If you let things like dog fennel, Biden's alba, the beggar tick, or a lot of other weeds, you let them grow, flower, set seeds, the balance in your weed seed account will go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good thing. If your bank balance goes up really high, that's a very good thing. If your weed seed balance goes up, not such a good thing. You're depositing more seeds into your account and into the soil.
And an anecdotal story about dog fennel, because there's a lot of it, in my neighborhood where I live. It's very open, sand hills, pine trees.
Yeah.
Dog fennel. And Adam's needle, plants like that. I cannot find a single thing in writing. I've searched and searched and searched and searched as to the history of why it's called dog fennel. But what I can tell you is, it freezes. and on its
Yeah.
own, it'll break off, blow away, which could have what happened maybe to Jenny, and the seeds, blew around, but it comes back again from the ground. When it is new, brand new in the spring, coming back, still, real small on the ground. I had a lab that became intoxicated by it. He would find it, stick his nose on the ground on that dog fennel, and I could barely pull him off. So I assume that's the reason it's called dog fennel, but I can't find it.
Yeah.
It's like catnip for dogs. As
It
it's
could be.
big, the upright dog fennel, that didn't interest him just when it was barely new and growing.
It is aromatic. I doubt that
More
it was
than aromatic.
classed on aromatic plants,
Yeah,
but
he was absolutely drawn to it. So,
dogs will sniff the weirdest things anyway.
this was
so.
more than a passing interest in sniffing. And Teresa found out, of course, that it is a butterfly nectar plant.
Every native plant is a butterfly plant in one way, shape, or form for at least one butterfly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Something eats it or visits the flowers.
Right. And it's a weed. It's pretty weedy. So it's not the end of the world if you remove it from where you want it. It's not like it's a, endangered plant or anything, but also it's not hurting anything in the more wild areas.
Lee down in Broward County says that her yard is full of Brazilian pepper seedlings from my neighbor's huge tree. That is a bad thing. For the seedlings, you could spray with glyphosate or triclopyr, but glyphosate will kill grass also. So if they're popping up in your lawn, that's not a good solution. Triclopyr generally doesn't kill grasses, so it should kill the Brazilian pepper without killing your turf grass if that's where they're popping up. Maybe you don't want to use triclopyr. If they're little, you can pull them up by hand. Or if it's in a turf grass area and you keep cutting them religiously with a lawnmower, they'll throw in the towel and die. Brazilian pepper seeds can be viable for only like a year or so. They're kind of short term. But if your neighbor has a tree and they keep dropping seeds, it's something that's never, ever going to end.
Yeah. And we have found here in Hernando County, we have an ordinance. It's not just an invasive plant. If it's on your property, you have to have it removed. And you have run across some companies with some great ideas. It has to be certified companies who have been trained how to remove the Brazilian pepper trees.
Yeah,
but some of them, and you train them. But some of them really jumped on the bandwagon and offered a subscription, pretty much, because it's not a one and done thing. They'll come and remove the big trees, but then they'll come back almost like termite control to see, to get those seedlings and to keep it. So it's a constant thing.
That's what it was pretty much patterned after, is termite control or termite bond or subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great for people who own property over there but live somewhere. There's people who live in Europe and they own property in Hernando Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to be getting nasty fines and letters from Hernando County government. So they pay this company and they guarantee that they won't have any problems with Brazilian pepper. We'll go and check. We'll take care of them if they're there.
But the fact that that's
creative idea.
That's a good idea and a good business model also goes to show you, though, that it is continual work for the homeowner. Lee says she's spoken to her neighbor. They don't want to do anything about it. Like I said, here in Hernando, we have an ordinance. You can't have a Brazilian pepper tree in your yard or a white lead tree. There are tons of others of invasive plants that – it's illegal to buy, sell, or transport. But if you have a camphor tree, you have an Australian pine, something like that, nothing's going to happen to you legally. But here in Hernando, you will get noticed. Hey, you have Brazilian pepper. Get it out. Oh,
Yeah,
and
it's
the white
so
ledge.
widespread in other counties south of here that they don't have ordinances. I mean,
They
they
can't.
are, the
I
county and the state are working towards controlling it better.
And so that's why we do. So we don't get to be like they are.
Yeah, we're
I
more near
four
the
and
edge of Brazilian pepper world.
I-4 and Alligator Alley. You go down there, both of those, all the time, and it's just walls of Brazilian pepper.
Yeah, drive down I-75 around Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and all alongside of the highway, nothing but trees and bushes with red berries. They're not hollies. They are Brazilian peppers.
Oh, but they were marketed as Florida Christmas hollies or something like that.
Christmas berry.
Christmas berry.
Yeah.
And here is Teresa's document on
UF has
Brazilian
a lot of
pepper.
information on Brazilian pepper, how to identify it, how to control it. So we probably need to wrap it up pretty soon here because
Okay.
I have another class I have to go to.
You
I
are a
need to leave
busy man.
a
If you're
few minutes.
interested in learning about what is it you're doing now, spring
Spring
gardening,
vegetable gardening.
stay tuned. No, you have to go through a different link, correct?
Yeah. And I'm getting hungry too. I'm ready for lunch. So today's class isn't going to be a long one.
Especially since you'll be talking about food.
Exactly. Now, next Thursday, we have a class coming up on growing herbs, and that is on our Facebook page. And that should be, let me pull it up here and put in a plug. If you visit www.hernandoextension.com, you will find a listing of all of our upcoming classes. And Lily, the other night I went in and checked yours and accepted all the invites.
Okay.
So they should be on ours, I think, if it's working. So if you go to hernandoextension.com, you can get all the information about our upcoming classes. The herb gardening one, you have to register on Zoom or register on Eventbrite. It's free, and it's going to be a Zoom class.
Cool. And I will have a class Wednesday at 10 on moonlight gardens.
Ooh, that's different topic.
It is. I haven't even started it yet. I better get moving on that. I've been doing all the other classes that we have coming up. You and I will be Tuesday at Timber Pines.
Yeah, talking about lawns.
Talking about lawns. And Bill told me to make a really short PowerPoint.
Yep.
Because each one is going to take a lot of discussion.
Lots of questions.
Yes.
Lots of confusion, lots of arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Not really arguments. I mean, sometimes we tell people, what's what and how it is.
Usually when we go into these gated communities, we don't get arguments. We get frustration. That's what we get because we tell them one thing and then they are told to do it another way, or their company that does it another way. So
people get inaccurate information sometimes. Not from us.
Lee, Virginia creeper is great for wildlife as well. People are getting aggravated. Keep all your weeds. They're great for wildlife.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. Technically, all the Virginia creeper and all the native, what are the vines with the little
Greenbrier.
Yeah. Greenbrier. They're all popping up on my hedge already.
Oh, yes.
And I have like more than one species of greenbrier. I think there's like 14 different species here in Florida.
Yep. Yeah.
Some are invasive, some are native, but I think I have them all coming up in my hedge. So
I think we've got it all over the yard, and we have that lot that we cleared. It's coming up all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, the lot next to the lot that we own changed from a for sale sign to a builder sign. So my husband took our trailer, our RV, and moved it closer to our house and further away from where that is going to be cleared, so it doesn't become part of that. And he said he had to move it just 30 feet over. He had to mow away the greenbrier vines that were coming up to put the RV there.
And it looks like Cindy wants to participate in your moonlight garden class.
Lots of beautiful white fragrant blooms, and we kind of touched on it already. If you go when Hernando County Government YouTube should be very soon, have my Fragrantly Florida Friendly video up. They're going to kind of intersect, because if I want to attract moths at night, that's what I attract, these nighttime flying pollinators. First of all, it's dark, so I'm going to have to be seen. So almost all of them are white. And also, it's dark. You're going to want to find me, so I'm going to have a very powerful fragrance at night. So.
And yeah, now that John's done with my video, I'm sure he'll get to yours.
Yeah. We're going to have a discussion about his priorities.
Okay, really, do we want to wrap it up? Because like I said, I need to go in like...
You're a busy guy. Go ahead.
Because I'm a busy guy. It's that time of
You
year.
are. Yes.
So, hey, guys, thank you so much, everyone. I will be here next Thursday. Lily, will you be here also?
As far as I know. Can you answer Alicia's question really quick before we go? Because I can't.
I'm not really sure. She asked about mounting your garden rose. You want to send me an email with the picture about what you're talking about? We can help figure that out for you.
I think growing on the mounds, probably. That's what I'm picturing.
You don't really need mounds here. You need mounds in an area where you're prone to flooding. Because what the mound does is it helps to keep the roots up out of standing water. Most of us here don't have a whole lot of standing water problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a huge issue right here. Alicia's in Orange County, and some of you are in other counties. If you live in a really flood-prone area or a really high water table, you're going to want to grow trees or your vegetable garden rows on a mound to kind of raise them up above the water level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea behind that. So, hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you, Bill.
We will be back here again next Thursday at 10 a.m. for your lawn and garden questions. Until then, if you have a question or anything, just go ahead and shoot us an email. I will do my best to get back to you as expeditiously as I can.
Wow, big words today.
I know. Vocabulary word for today. And thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. We really appreciate it. And we will see you back here again next week.
Yep, I'll be here as far as I know.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Lillian. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay.
We'll see you
Have a
next
great
week.
day, everyone.
All right, bye.